Well, welcome everyone. My name is Allison Heaney, Vice President of Learning and Public Programs, and I want to welcome you today, Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, to this edition of the MOLAA Zoom Project, in conversation with the artist Analivia Cordeiro. With MOLAA Chief Curator Gabriela Urtiaga, we'll discuss with the artist her work and career. MOLAA also acknowledges the support of the Genesis Inspiration Foundation, the Miller Foundation, the Dwight Stewart Youth Fund, and the Arts Council for Long Beach for their constant support of the educational initiatives at the Museum of Latin American Art, and a special thanks to the California Arts Council Arts Exposure Grant. Each chapter of the MOLAA Zoom Project features a conversation between the most remarkable artists from Latin America and Latinx across the US and our MOLAA Chief Curator. Together, we focus on a series of specific artworks which require close inspection, a deliberate process of contemplation and exploration, delving into the ideas surrounding the creation of the works, their sources of research and inspiration, in an effort to immerse ourselves in the world of the artist. In Chapter 33 of the MOLAA Zoom Project, we are joined by multidisciplinary artist Analivia Cordeiro, known for her exploration of the body and the transdisciplinary use of technology. Analivia was born in São Paulo and has a Ph.D. with 2 postdocs. She's a member of the UNESCO International Dance Commission and started her studies of modern dance at the age of 7 in São Paulo. In 1973, she created the computer video work M3x3, which placed her as a Latin American pioneer of video art and one of the world pioneers in computer dance and electronic arts. Between the 70s and 90s, her work was presented in Brazil in numerous international exhibitions of historical importance. Many of those are listed in our show notes below. Her work belongs to the important public and private international contemporary art collections, such as the Victoria Albert Museum Collection in London, the Museum of Modern Art, New York, Museo Nacional Centro de Arte Reina Sofia, Madrid, the Museum of Concrete Art. In Brazil, it's part of the public and private collections, such as the USP Contemporary Art Museum, São Paulo, Pinoteca de São Paulo, and the Atu Cultural Collection, São Paulo. As we begin this presentation, we encourage you to share your questions and feedback using the chat feature below. We'll be sure to host a live Q&A session at the end. And with that, I'd like to introduce you Analivia Cordeiro and our Chief Curator, Gabriela Urtiaga. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Alison, for the presentation, and thank you all the MOLAA team. Hello, everyone, and welcome to MOLAA. Bienvenidos a MOLAA. Thank you for joining us today in this special Zoom project as we celebrate the career of the amazing multidisciplinary Brazilian artist, Analivia Cordeiro. Hello, Analivia. How are you? Thank you for your time today.
Yes, thank you for your invitation. Thank you all of your team. It's really an honor. So here I am.
We are ready, Analivia, to talk with you, to learn about your visionary career. And at the beginning, I would like to start because you are an artist who has the opportunity to grow around art and artists, right? And develop your practice in different continents, different cultures and contexts, but at the same time, you create your body of work from Brazil, South America. Will you tell us about your beginnings as a multidisciplinary artist and why it's so important for your work to be an artist living and working in São Paulo?
Well, you know, São Paulo, it's a city that has many nationalities having, you know, I think an harmonical life. So we have Japanese people, German people, many of them, Italian, many of them. So we are all together, Jewish, Arabian, and we are all together living and then collaborating with each other. That's a very important feature of Brazil as a country, and especially São Paulo, that's the main city that supports the whole country. And here I had the opportunity to have a German teacher that she studied directly with Rudolf von Laban. And she introduced me the work of Oscar Schlemmer from Bauhaus. So I saw the work of Oscar Schlemmer, Triadic Ballet, when I was 9 years old the first time in a film, and I went back to the Goethe Institute many times, and Mrs. Gerda, the German, what it was that, she said, "Oh, that's the Schlemmer's girl." So I would go there to see the film. And I was imitating, since I was alone in the room, I was imitating his movements. So I learned, and he was like my master. I learned not intellectually, I learned my body, you know, his language. And then there was my father, that he came from Italy, and he was a concrete leader in Brazil of, you know, concrete art, and he did Rupture Manifest, and he was very radical as an artist and also as a person. And I had lunch and dinner with him every day. And when I was between, I think 6 months or 3, very a baby, he put in my break, he put just a Calder, a replica of Calder. So I was looking at that mobile every day. So I learned modern art. You know, it was in my neurological system. That's very important, because one day my father said to me, "You have a modern sensibility. Don't worry." Well, it's a kind of, yeah, it's a kind of perception. You have a kind of perception. And as it was in Brazil, that's a so open country, I felt freedom to let my ideas, let my perception to flourish. So I did my first work and I was 19 years old, which means in dance, you are already professional, because I begin stage with 11. So in dance, 19 is a major. It's you finish your career. I mean, the top of a career is 27, the top. Then you go down. I mean, it's a physical condition. So, like Restani said, I was l'enfant prodige. I was not enfant prodige. I was normal as a dancer. And I had this passion for mathematics. That's something that's not art. I had this kind of vision of space. And now, yesterday, I was putting the subtitles in a talk I had with Peter Bible. It was interesting because he asked our first talk, he asked to put in a video. And I didn't understand why, but now that he's dead, I understand why. Because we have our conversation preserved. And he was a mathematician, and he's saying that I mathematized the dance. In a way, I really did our work regarding space. And this because Laban, the German one, he had this space concerning. So I had this kind of education looking at the space, not the space just for your body to fit in, but the space as part of the dance language, you know. So the movements are space. It's not they are into space. They are space in themselves. They define a space. If I do it like this, I'm defining a space in your screen. Yeah. So like I decided, for example, I want this line over my head. So I am here sitting and this line is finishing my head. This is something that is space. So let's say I begin this way. I put this in video, I put this in the new language. And nowadays we are much more aware of space than before. It's not for good reasons. We live in very small spaces. The car is a very tiny space. So we are surrounded by space and also a little smashed by space. So we became aware of what space is much more than before. So my background in Brazil is fundamental for the freedom of creating, and also the putting together many cultures. This is very important. And there is another point I want to say that's very, very, very important. Brazil is a country, there is millions of illiterated people that are completely out of the economical and social life. But they have a kind of love language. I mean, love and hate, because when they hate, they kill. When they love, they love. So if you have contact with those people all the time, and this gives you a sense of humanity, that's very peculiar, because they are not in newspapers, they are in your everyday life. So you talk with them, you have, I mean, you exchange energy with them. And this is also very important, because we know a language that's not of literated people. Mm-hmm. And we understand how to survive, besides you are not counted in the society. It's sad in a sense, but it's very profound in another sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Analivia, because you are one of the most remarkable pioneer video artists that you highlight the body language in dialogue with the environment, and according to your words, you are creating a strong philosophy. And I would like to know, for example, because from your beginnings, you were interested in the intersection of dance and technology, and let us know about your inspiration and question that we can find in your body of work and your philosophical approaches that you develop in all of your pieces. And if you like, we can show computer dance and the notation, computer dance notation.
Yes, well, the first reason I used the technology is because I was in Brazil, so I was very far from Europe, and I wanted to go to Europe. So I said, I'm going to use the video. The video I thought would be the future, and I had the right opinion. So now we are in video now between us. I am in Brazil, you are in Los Angeles. So we are talking to each other because we have the video. And when I planned the computer program, you can see in the screen, I had to use a kind of notation to say to the dancers what they had to do. But you see in this notation, for example, that's a notation from a work that is a video work that calls 045 that I did in 74 was my second work. This notation shows you figures, static figures. And here it's the important point of my work. You imagine you are a dancer. You have to do those positions. So you do, for example, here, and then you have to go here. Okay, from here to here, you have to create a movement. Movement is continuous. So I can do here and here, or I can do here, or I can do here, here.
Yeah.
Depends on what? Depends on the dancer, depends on the person. So I am involving people in the creative act. This is really the key of my philosophy. Between control and freedom, you have to have a dialogue. Otherwise, you finish in a situation that we have many times today, for example, depressed people. If you are creating, you are not depressed. You are putting your emotions moving. You are putting yourself moving. So nowadays that we have so much technology, you have to find out a way of expressing yourself inside of the rules that the technology imposes to us. And this is a very important philosophy.
Wow.
This is important. This came from my beginning. Why? Because I was a dancer and my friends were dancers. And they said, I don't like these sticky figures, these little drawings. This is boring. I said, you are right. Let's make it somehow interesting. So I like, for example, M3x3. M3x3 is my first work.
Yeah.
I want you to watch a little bit the video of my M3x3. And here you can see this. The black and white means the binary 0 and 1. Everybody is the same.
Yeah.
You and the environment, there is a dialogue because the body of the parts are also like inside are cut like the scene, this line cut. So this is a kind of portrait of our society. It was at that, and it still is, individuals, the environment with people, mechanical movements, this military dictatorship sounds that can be political, but can be also technological dictatorship. Because there is, yes.
No,
So
but also, Analivia, you say you are a dancer and also a researcher, right? And in this particular piece that we can see again and again because it's hypnotic, your work is in relationship of different dichotomies that you put intention, interpretation versus programming, movement versus static, freedom, planning, as a part of the concept that we can find in your creation, right?
Right. Also, there is a technological challenge. The computer I used in those, my computer had 5 megabytes of memory and storage of less than 300 kbytes. It was very difficult in terms of technology. We have to have a lot of imagination how to fit all this in the computer at that time. This is also for people that like technology, to study this and to understand how it was the program done.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another challenge. I mean, the technical one. But then I did this, and then I want you to see the 045 dance. This is another one. You can show a little excerpt I sent you. And this dance, the other 045 has 3 versions. No, it's not this one. Wait. Did I send you the 045? Danielle?
Yes,
wait.
hello.
Did I send you the 045 dances?
I believe you sent the image, not the video.
Yes? Oh, let me see.
Okay, we can talk about that, and then in the edition, we will incorporate the video, don't worry.
Let just a remark. In 75, I went to live with the Indians in Amazonia, because then I want to understand about they like the pure movement, and they have this. They don't distinguish dance from music or from life. They have this ritual where dance and music comes together, and also the ritual concept all together. So I learned a lot from them because they dance, sing, and have the meaning all mixed. And this is a very important lesson for me, as well as the way they use the geometry. They don't have numbers, they don't have measure, but they do a very precise geometry. And this is another subject that should really be studied. It's very, very interesting. It's a kind of human language.
Yeah.
It's not.
This is beautiful. And the next video that we have is Cambiantes from 1976, a computer dance composed by movement based on the 45 degrees and right angles, right? Made by the body limbs position during the choreography, creating the black and white scene. And Olivia, tell us about your idea behind this fantastic video art.
Yes. Well, this video is very important because we are always under the dictatorship of the rectangle. And here I put the triangles and I cutted the image of the rectangle. If today we want to show something for someone and doesn't fit in the rectangle of the video screen, we don't show. So the rectangle is really doing something in our mind. Young people, they think about rectangle to see the reality. And here I cut the rectangle with those triangles and became a regular polygon. And this is important as a conceptual point of view. If in a dark room, you don't see a rectangle. You see a polygon. This is very, very important. You see the rectangle always in the edges, the black rectangles. Mm-hmm. That's a point of view about the rectangle in our life today.
Yeah. And
you
can
see?
you explain a little?
You don't see the rectangle. You see just the black.
Yeah.
You see cutted. And this piece is part of also a few museums collection because it's remarkable. And you don't see here, but the makeup has red triangles that I learned to paint the face with the angels.
Yeah. It's really fun. And you invite the different dancers. How was the process to create this particular piece?
Well, since I was doing a dance that was not part of my classical dancers, I had the modern dancers. I invited people that were friends, were around me and would do this. Because the most important part was to read, to memorize, and to think. And not many dancers like to think. Many dancers, they feel the movement, they are dramatic, but they don't want to stop, think, memorize. They don't appreciate too much this part of the work. So the dancers, they were of different styles, and they can be from different styles.
And Olivia, you mentioned that you experienced a transformative moment with the Kamayura tribe in 1975, right? And we would love to know about the challenges that you experienced at that moment and how that experience changed the way you develop your work after more than 6 months of research in communication with the indigenous people from the state of Tocantins.
Yes. Well, all begin with a newspaper where I read that the Indians would finish. I was shocked. And then I did a project based on a dance experience. I took a book that was describing a dance, and I said to 3 dancers, you don't look to each other, just listen. And I read the description, and based on that description, each one did the step that was being described in words, and came out 3 different steps. All were right, all were according to the words, but they were different. So I said, I have to go and to record in a film or video. Because if they are going to finish, I want to have preserved. So I entered the College of Anthropology in the University of São Paulo, and I did this project. And then the Army, the Air Force, had a airplane, an old airplane, very old. I was very scared, but I was in this airplane, and they left me in the jungle. And they said to me, wait, that we come back. I said, when? They said, we don't know, just wait. Okay, I stayed the months waiting, they come back. But what happened? I met the most sensitive people I met in my life, the most kind people. I was so surprised how they had that, the vision, the hearing, the smell. They were so well, the perception of, they were so well trained, let's say, they were sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand that my eyes is almost nothing compared to them. My ear, wow, they listen, think that far away. And then I didn't talk their language, but I was with them months. And for me, I have this image you have here in my kitchen, and every day I thank to them that I could be with them sometime. Here, this painting, this picture is from the morning when there is this like smoke coming out of the water, a kind of fog, and this is very early, so the light is still very soft, and they go inside the water to take some water to bring to the tribe to use during the day. And this, for me, it's difficult to say in words, but it's part of my inner constitution. And then when I came back, I did an analysis of their movements. I understood how they could go with the same movement, recovering their energy during the whole day. There is a dance, they dance from the beginning, morning to the end of the afternoon. The next day, and the movement is they step and and the energy recovers itself. So it's infinite. You can dance this hours and hours, and you have all the time the energy. So they taught me about the energy recovery. I learned a lot with them about movement.
Yeah, so beautiful. And the other picture that you share with us is dance too. And what represents for you this particular dance that is part of
this dance is for men.
Mm-hmm.
It's a line. And at the end of the line, there are the children, because they don't have school, which means you learn doing it. So they were doing this dance, and at the same time, the children at the end were learning. Mm-hmm. And it was the dance of Quarupi. The Quarupi is a kind of ritual they do for special dead people. I mean, not for everyone, but like a chief of the tribe or a shaman. They do this Quarupi. That means they cut a trunk, and they have this trunk, and they peel off a part of the trunk that is like our waist, and they paint the geometry of like a belt. And they use those kind of belt in this dance. And then this trunk will represent the dead person, and they never say the name of this person. And at the end of the ritual, they throw this trunk in the water, and then they say that the life can begin again, and they introduce a girl to the other tribes, a girl that will be a mother, which means the life will continue. someone dies, someone is born, and then you have the cycle of life. And this dance calls the dance of Guarupi.
Mhm. So poetic, Analivia. And part of your work is complete also in dialogue with the public, right? The connection that you create with your audiences in different countries and the different reaction of the public when it come in contact with your work. Because I think you stimulate the interaction with open conversation and as a result of open interpretation, right? Could you share with us your ideas about that?
Well, the basis of my work, many people think that's technology, but it's not, it's the human movement.
Mhm.
And there is a curious reality. We have the words to write our ideas or our poetry, or we use words. We have the musical partiture to work, to write down our music instruments, partitures. We have photography, painting to register our, and other devices to register our visual life. But till now, if you know, thousands and thousands of years of human culture, we did not have still just a few proposals of a way of writing a human movement. So when we do a movement, it disappears in the air. So many athletes, like for example now Pelé, the soccer football that he was so, and others, Michael Jordan from basket, or I don't know, Nureyev as a dancer,
Yeah.
or many others, great ones. We don't have a register of their movements. We have video, but video has the third dimension. The video is bidimensional. So you don't know exactly how far it's going back or going forward. You cannot reproduce perfectly the movement coming only from a video recording. So that's a very, I think, serious reality. And I'm researching since that beginning with the small figures that I chatted a lot. So there are exactly 41 years that I begin to research a way of writing movement that I call Nota Ana. Ana is from my grandmother that I gave as a tribute to her, that I love her very much. So it's not from notation. Nota Ana is a way of writing movement. And my works, I propose to people to move, just move. And I had such a great feedback, different. I mean, movement is universal. So if you go to Europe or America or Latin America, I didn't go yet to Asia. I don't know Asia well. But I mean, Europe, yes, America, yes, Latin America, yes. So I have this incredible responses of people moving, and they really love to move and love the works because they love to move. I don't know if the work is good, but the movement is very good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a universal language, right?
Yes, it is.
So
And everybody talks the same. There is no like Italian or Spanish or English. Everybody moves the same body, the same language. You can talk any place with movement.
yeah, and Analivia, time flies, and we would like to continue this conversation with our audience. But first, let us know about the digital body language workshop that you are preparing during June in LA, because we can wait for you to be part of that.
Yes, Okay, you can take this image. I have the image of the Indians in my screen. You still have this in yours? No. Danielle, you have the image of the Indians in our screen?
Yes,
Wait.
I believe.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah, now I'm talking about other subjects. Well, I don't see my image. Do I have my image? No.
I believe you need to share your screen.
Oh, now I do. Okay. Oh, thank you. No, okay. No, I know. But well, this workshop comes inside of the coded exhibition. This exhibition took 10 years to be planned, and it's very serious, because it's a different approach of the technology and art. There is a political approach, how it was at that time. You have to know this. It was not welcome. Technology was not welcome in the beginning, not at all. Many critics, and also the people were afraid of the big companies ruling our lives. And now that's what happens. The big companies, they rule our lives. And they were against this. So many people were saying very important, I mean, they were saying things very important about this. And exactly what happens, it's the curator, Leslie Jones, she put this in the exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And I asked her to do this workshop. It's a 2-day workshop. And we will begin with the background. What was behind the creations of computer? For my case. So we begin with a pen and paper, a pencil, not a pen, a pencil and paper, an eraser, because we have to erase sometimes. And everybody, all the participants will have this. We are going to begin how we begin to put a movement inside the computer. Let's begin the beginning, and then we go through those days till the end when we finish with artificial intelligence. That's my last work. So how was this approach? And we are going to evaluate together what we have positive and what we have negative, which parts of movement we can have with computer, which parts we don't have with computer, because there is no way yet to put in computer. And maybe we are losing this richness of movement of our language because we don't have technology to put in. And we are just surrounded by technology. So we are going to have this kind of discussion, but in body, also in words, but we are going to experiment this in our body. And then those days will be about this. And there is a whole progression from 73 to 2023. I mean, 1973 to 2003. It's 50 years history in 2 days. And this is going to be to any person, no dancers, because any person will be able, like, to lift their arm or to bend. It's something that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yes, I think, you know, Gabriela, I think that an artist today has to think about the public. They need things that we have to go and do. I mean, the artists that really work for culture, because if you are working to sell your work in art market, then it's another subject, in another art.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the ones who are really making a contribution with the culture of the society.
Of course. Of course,
Yes.
of course. And I think your work is amazing because you are creating a strong community around the world. And this is important. Also, after the pandemic, you know, to to invite people to visit the museum, to spend time with others. It's a fantastic experience and so necessary, Analivia. We are so grateful for your time, for your generosity, and we will see with Daniel, the curatorial assistant, if we have any question to you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello there.
And Gabriela, I like very much your approach because you allowed me to talk of many aspects. You were not technical, and I mean, you are also technical, but you were not only technical. And I think this is very a pleasure for me to talk about people and culture and not only technology and this kind of acrobacies you do, but the movement inside the computer.
Thank you, Analivia. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. Thank you.
Of course, always.
Okay.
And now
So-
opening questions up to the public. If anyone has any questions, please drop them in the comments. We will take any questions at all. I actually had a question for you as well.
Well,
Daniel has a question.
Yes, actually, you mentioned the idea of movement as a universal language. Can you explain on that idea a little bit more? It sounded very interesting.
yes. When I say language, I have to understand that there are elements that make movement a language. For example, you have the weight. The weight is the weight of the body because we are still living the earth and we have the gravity. And then suppose if I have to get up or have to support something heavy, I have to do strong movement to go up because of the gravity. So the movement can be very strong. Or if I am too tired, you know, and said, oh, then you go passive. You are passive with gravity. So the gravity is up in you and but down like weak. So you have this element of gravity that you can really deal with when it's heavy or strong, when it's weak or light movement. And then you have also the timing. It's another very important element of the language of the movement. Timing is what deals very much with our emotions. You can be very slow and you can take long time. Or you can be very quickly and you talk quickly, and then it's, or in a hurry, you are hurrying up, So the timing is element that the movement uses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or very, very happy, like in samba, you are very quickly, but it's not in a hurry. It's a different sensation, but still it's very quickly. So we have this timing element.
Mm-hmm.
The element you have in the movement is the space. And this is very important. You have 2 points. Suppose you are a precise scientist. So you go from one point to the other point. But suppose you are a dancer in Rio de Janeiro of samba. You have 2 points. Then you go, and you go, and you do, and you do, and finally you reach the point. So you can be very straight, or you can do like flexible movements. And so the way you express ourselves using your joints and space. And this is another element. And the last element is the fluence. I mean, the kind of control you have with your body. For example, you jump in a pool. You cannot stop the jump in the middle. So it's a movement, you have any control. But if I'm walking, I lift my foot and I can just stop before putting the foot again on the floor. So there are movements that you can have control, and there are movements that you cannot control. So between those elements, you have altogether a language that we speak with using it during the whole day. And if we don't move, it's so simple, we die.
Wow, that's an amazing description.
Yes, it's kind of technical, but any person can understand because we move.
Yeah. Are there any questions from the public as well?
Okay.
Still have some time.
No, I hope people at least about.
Oh. Thank you, Daniel.
Of course.
Okay, so
Thank you, Analivia. It was a pleasure. And Alison is here again with us.
there is a app that you can have in Android and iOS phones that calls Body Way, not Anna, and people can download it and have their phones a way of playing with movement. That's the last work I did.
Wow.
So it's open to people to try it. Okay.
That's fun. And that was actually one of the questions I was with this workshop that you're doing too. Are there plans for the conversation that's coming from that workshop to maybe be published or to be shared with the community outside of the workshop? Because you had wonderful ideas about the impact of technology on the body and on the body of technology.
I think we are planning to do a video of the workshop, and I thought they were released to the public, but they will record. And I asked them to record it because it's important to have a document. I would love to release it in public. So probably, yes.
Yes, and the good news, Alison, is that Analivia, we will part of our project with the Getty Foundation, with Arteonica, and for sure we can create a lot of workshops here at MOLAA with the great artist Analivia. Thank you, Analivia.
What I want to say about the workshop is that it's different when you look internet or when you try with your own body. When you try with your body, you have it for yourself. So that I want people to do with their own body, because then you have your personal experience that's different than looking in internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much, Analivia, for joining us. And Gabriela Urteaga, of course, is wonderful for fantastic connections here in Zoom Project, and thank you to Daniel for sharing those images with us. If you're interested in seeing any of other Zoom projects, we do have a link in our chat and in the website where you can check out other videos with artists as part of the Zoom. We're very excited to see you for part of the Pacific Standard Time exhibition coming up 2020 tour 2025 here at MOLAA. So thank you to everyone in our audience for joining us this afternoon. This will be edited and posted up on our YouTube channel and on our webpage as soon as we get that done. So thank you again for joining.
Thank you.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.